Christ, Isaiah Ward, representing ISUPK Delaware. Yo, make sure y'all check out that Knock TV.
Look, listen, I'm coming up your street, red line, busting pistons, beat roaring loud like a fire in the kitchen. COVID-19 got me 6 feet distance. We been yelling back up, nigga, what's the difference? One West, an honor to be honorably mentioned. See it in my eyes, no compromise in my visage. I'm vicious, brainwashed out like the dishes. Taking out the mafia and the 3 6s. Number of a man and the sons of perdition. Time to pay the piper for the Spanish Inquisition. 100 years of lynching, sinners of detention. Fields full of cotton, these cracks they had spinning. All in the name
This has been 2 years in the making. You know that, right? It was supposed to happen Passover. The last Passover we went to, me and Sis had a plan. Never happened. We was lit, we was having a good time. It just never happened. But here we are. Here we are.
All right, grab me up. Grab me up for that one. All right. So we here, man. Tell the people who you are, where you from.
So I am Napash. My Hebrew name is Napash. I'm famously known as Yahweh Tabrib. Y'all may know me from my show, Yummy with Yummy.
Hennessy with a line, fuck with us and you get a fine self-defense. If it's shopper time, break, answer you with a sign, but the chances on the decline. In Meridian, looking prime, take that energy, cross the line. If my enemy wants
me, we hear me. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely Yahweh Tabrib, though.
You're drinking Coke 45, malt liquor, damn it, I'm a Coke leader. I don't smoke weed or sell Coke either.
I mean, we know you as Yammy.
Yeah, Yammy. Everybody knows me as Yammy, for real.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody that know her as Yammy. You know what I'm saying?
Or Yahweh Tabrib. All the brothers, they just Yahweh Tabrib. You ain't got no name. You your husband's rib. That's just that.
Shout out to all the brothers that know what time it is. You know what I mean? All right. So we here. I seen you just make a chi or a spread or whatever you call it in your city. You know what I'm saying?
We call it a spread.
We call it the chi back in Philly. So can you explain what that is?
So yeah, like I've been open in the past about me being in the feds or whatever, you know, back in the life before I was a princess. But yeah, so it's like a jailhouse meal when you ain't got nothing, but you try to make something out of nothing.
Right.
What I'm good at. So it's just like some noodles, some chips, some beef stick. I use the beef cheese. You know, just threw a little something together, a little hot water. You know, it's that struggle meal. You gotta, you know, bring it out. So
I hate that.
My struggle meal.
Chi.
I seen a brother though. He made a dope one. It was like he had the chilies, the crackers, the noodles, and for some reason he put a cherry on top, but it was dope. Oh, what is his name?
He probably from Philly.
Probably so, but it was dope. He made it all. The presentation nice.
If he called it a chi, he from Philly. You know what I'm saying? He was in PA. I mean, shout out to everybody in PA know what a chi is. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we hit, man. All right, so what you also said was you about to go on TV network. You know what I mean? So, matter of fact, you didn't say where you from.
Oh, I'm from the Bay Area, California. Yeah, I'm from the Bay. I know there's like 2 parts of the Bay. Everybody know LA and everybody. I'm from the Bay, so yeah.
All right, shout out to the Bay. Shout out to Northern Cali.
North Cal.
North Cal. All right, so you about to be on TV network. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, so hopefully I'm trying to be on TV network. I did go through a round of interviews and videos and stuff like that. They watched my live show, Yummy with Yummy. So what I have to do is basically the COVID thing going on. They did tell me I was accepted, but since the COVID is going on, I can't fly to New York to do the screen testing, so I gotta just do them from home. But you know, that's just a wish. Not really a wish. It could be a thing, but the casting could change at any time. So besides, I'm just working on building my social media presence. That's what the network told me. It was like, build your presence. You know, and then the casting director can change at any time. But if you're good, just you're good. So I did make it through the 3rd round though. So y'all might see me on there.
So what's heavy is what you're saying is like you was pretty much doing your thing on social media and it kind of blew up. You know what I'm saying? Now that it blew up, you know what I'm saying, Esau saw it on their TV programs. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Viacom. So they saw your program and they seen that you was popping. You know what I'm saying? So by you doing it, by you know what I'm saying, following your dream and following your ambition, you was able to get close enough to where you could push yourself onto actual TV network. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's crazy how I started doing the recordings of the food. I know my Adawan and I were living with a brother and sister, and they were always constantly going to camp and stuff like that. And the sister, she was like at work all the time. She was working really hard, and they always had camp. They always had class. So I was the one to, that had to stay back and wasn't able to go to class and stuff like that. But I had to take care of the house and take care of the kids and stuff like that. So And I used to always make dinner every night. So when they came back from camp, when they came back from class, they always had something. So I was just like, let me start recording it and going live with it. And that's just what I started doing. And at first, like the first recording, it was like horrible. Like I don't even know. I think I had Officer Karak. He had put like some weird old music, some old beats to the music.
Shout out Karak. I already know what type of music you talking about.
And I was just like chopping up stuff and putting it in the oven, stuff like that. And it did pretty good for the first video. Yeah, but so it came from me just like trying to help out, really. Like, you know, I know that brother had to go to class. I know my husband had to go to camp. So I was just like, you know, and I know that sister had to work. So I had to do whatever I could do to, you know, add my part. Though I wanted to be there, I wanted to go. But then I later, you know, realized that, you know, I was being a big help by doing that. So yeah, that's how the videos and live show came about. As far as dealing with Yami. Yeah.
That's heavy. So Karak has something to do with the first pilot program.
Oh gosh, the first it was so bad. It was like I think it was an old Dr. Dre beat. And it was like dun 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 dun. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Jesus
and Christ. I was just like chopping up food, and he was like, but it was dope though, because he was like adding the filters and he was switching in stuff, but it was cool. But it was, now that I look back at it, it was horrible. It was horrible to try to look around. But
I mean, everybody
it came together. Everybody loved it. So yeah.
I mean, but that's what brought you out. So I mean, just that could have gave you motivation.
Yeah, it did.
All right,
kept me going.
One thing you also said was you got a bakery. You got a bakery popping.
Yes. So at the Belvedere Mall, I just started to open up a shop at the Belvedere Mall. It's with it's an extension of Castle of Cakes. This sister, she was basically, I went to go interview her, because you know I do the interviews. I go to like local restaurants and family owned, black owned, and I went to go interview her for her restaurant. And you know, we got into the interview process, and she was telling me that, you know, she didn't think she was gonna make it, you know, through the winter. She was like, you know, I think I got a couple more months here, and that's that. And so I was just like, you know, what's going on? She was just telling me. And so, and I started giving her a little background as far as what I do on, you know, with the social media, the Young with Yami. Then I showed her my educational background as far as when going to school and stuff like that. And she was just like, it would be a big help if you moved in here and just opened up your own shop. She's like, she looked at my stuff. She was like, never happened. We're going to end that out. So she was like, she looked at my work. She was like, it'd be really good if you just moved in and, you know, opened up a shop. I think it would bring business. She was like, your stuff looks really new. It looks fresh. It looks trendy. And so we kind of just went off that. She was like, yeah. She was like, I have an extension kitchen. We share one big kitchen. As far as the display, the out part of it, I own one side. She owned the other. But then she also told me that she's going to be retiring pretty soon. So she was like, you know, leave this whole thing to you. You know, you get it popping, you know, I can get it popping. So, so yeah, I'm gonna be opening up that side. I think do a ribbon cutting next month. I'm ordering inventory and stuff like that. But yeah, it was I like that I was able to help her, because she said, you know, she didn't think she was gonna make it to winter as far as business wise. She was feeling like she was gonna get, you know, cut out or put out or whatever. Her business was gonna make it. So it felt good to, you know, be a help to somebody, especially, you know, a black business owner, a sister at that, you know. So that's how the shop came about. So I'm gonna do a ribbon cutting pretty soon, like in a month. Have all my inventory coming in, put all my work out there. You know, I did just do a cake for the school, the ISUPK logo cake. Everybody loved it. So, you know, I'm motivated. Like, I'm ready to go, get out here, get this money.
And it's crazy because you said, I was just about to say that. I mean, what I noticed the similarities is I mean, you just put yourself in a position to get those opportunities. So like you said, you was grinding, you know what I'm saying, doing your social media, and you was able to get on with the TV company. Now you was out trying to do your interviews, and you was able to get, you know what I'm saying, on with the bakery. You feel what I'm saying? So just being motivated enough to go out and get what, you know what I'm saying, what you want to get, that's what's kind of propelling you forward. You know what I'm saying? Just staying active and staying motivated. You know what I mean? Which is heavy that you just said that, because that's what it seemed like. That's how you getting to where you need to be in life, just by staying busy, staying active, and grinding in what you like to do. Your interviews and your social media is what pushed you forward. You feel what I'm saying? So, I mean, would you say that that's really what it takes to become somebody of notoriety? Just being ambitious.
You know, and I really think that has a lot to do with the people around you. I gotta give a lot of credit to my Ottawa. Like even coming, shout out my Ottawa, y'all, what's up, Mr. Cult Leader.
Mr. Cult Leader.
Just to like even coming to Las Vegas, like it was his whole, like he literally told me one day, pack up, we moving to Las Vegas. No explanation.
That's
you know, he ain't gotta tell me nothing. And I kicked and screamed the whole way. I mean, I didn't kick and scream, but I didn't want to leave California. That's where I'm from. That's all I know. And I had something really good going out there. And I just knew when I came to Vegas, and every day I woke up, I was like, I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And then I just went to the mall one day, I think I was working on the Cult Princess merchandise. I went to the mall one day, and then I just stopped by the bakery and I talked to her, and that's how this all came about. But if it wasn't for my Adawan wanting to move to Vegas, or basically telling me you moving to Vegas, you ain't got no choice, and it made me trusting in him and, you know, following his lead, then I would have never came across this opportunity. So I definitely think it has a lot to do with the people around you, the people that motivate you, and then of course your self hustle. I got a hustle on me.
Heard that. All right, so how did you find the truth? Like, what was it like coming up? You know what I'm saying? What was we want to know the grit, the grind. What was that like? The stuff that you came through to get where you are today. You know what I'm saying? Just come through, bring us to from where you came from to coming into the truth.
Oh, where I came from, rough. So, you know, I'm from the Bay Area. Those are rough streets alone, and then just the household. Like, I didn't come up in a really good, you know, household. I went through a lot of trauma and a lot of bad stuff as a little girl, as a teen, as a young adult. You know, I've been to the feds just by, you know, being guided the wrong way or not having the right guidance to lock you. And so I went through a lot of stuff, and I think I had to go through phases that everybody goes through in life when they, you know, on their way to becoming who they want to be. So
hey, you was in the feds? Jesus Christ.
I was in the feds. It was horrible.
Jesus Christ.
It was horrible. I went to the feds for the government saying that like I stole an amount of money that wasn't quite true, but you know, I definitely went to the feds. I did 2 years. I did 6 months in a halfway house, and at that time I pretty much did it all by myself. I did have my father was very supportive. You know, he wrote me, he sent money and stuff like that. He made sure I was good. But yeah, I went through that struggle, and it taught me a lot being in the feds. The feds will teach you you don't know nothing about nothing, but you think you know something. So definitely had to go through that. And then right after the feds, I think I was living with a family member, like my grandma, I think. Yeah, I was living with my grandma, and I kind of was just working, tried to get myself together a little bit, but I was in a bad place. Of course, I was running the streets. I wasn't running the streets, but I definitely was partying and just not really caring about life, drinking a lot. Then I met my Ottawa, and he kind of like pulled me out of that hellhole. It was hell. You know, it was literally hell. But yeah, he pulled me from that, and I kind of just went along with it, like whatever he was with as far as the truth. I wanted something. I needed an outlet basically. And you know, he was that ear to listen. He was that person to build me up. And then the truth, I can literally say the truth, learning the truth, being under Commander General Yohana, those councils with General Mahaiman literally built me back up from the person I was. I was horrible. If anybody followed,
shout out General Mahaiman.
Shout out General Mahaiman. I know I'm his headache. Yeah, if anybody like followed me before, they seen like my growth from the beginning of the truth to where I am now, how I was on Facebook, the things I used to say, the way I used to act. Definitely wasn't a princess, but now I'm definitely a cult princess now. All right,
so could you explain the transition? You know what I'm saying, coming from that part to changing into, you know what I'm saying, what you would want to be known as a prince. Okay, you called it a princess, so we're gonna run with that. You know what I'm saying? So what was the adaptation of your princessness? Princessness.
Cult princesses.
You know what I mean?
Like I said, anybody who followed me before I was even in the truth, it was horrible. Like I was like on Facebook and social media, you know, there's like the fake Israelites, there's like, you know, there's ISUPK Home the Truth, and I had like a mixture of everybody on my friends page, so I didn't really know what was what. I was seeing this and seeing that, and I used to argue. First of all, I thought I was a Hotep goddess. It was horrible. I thought I was a whole type of goddess, and I used to just like argue with brothers, and I was real resistant. I called myself a rebel, all that nonsense. But then I learned from being loud and rude and ratchet to being, modest and calm, and just trying to represent my husband, in a way that he should be representing, And then what else? I was just horrible, but it took a lot of growing. It took a lot of lessons I had to learn. Like I said, them counsels with General Hyman was no joke. Talking a lot with my husband, just kind of learning things and trying to understand things the way that they should be, and for a lot of sisters, I know that's really hard because especially coming out the world, you think you know everything. I thought I knew everything. I didn't know nothing. Right. I didn't know a damn thing, but I thought I was so smart. Right. And it took me just like shutting my mouth to actually learn something. And so, I'm still growing today. I'm still trying to, but.
Right. Yeah. So it was more of a process than it was.
Definitely a process. Definitely a process.
One night change or something like that.
Oh, no, definitely not overnight. Yeah. Anybody who knows Yummy with Yami knows that it was not overnight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. That's heavy. So, all right. So how did you and YONKERS meet?
This is a funny story. Oh, goodness. I met him on Facebook. I didn't meet him on Facebook. I seen him on Facebook.
Shout out to Facebook.
Facebook. And I used to stalk his page. I used to stalk his page, and I would message him, and he would never hit me back. He would never message me back.
Oh, man.
And I used to see him on, I think I seen him on Karak page. He had just came from Passover. And when I seen him, I was just like, oh, who is that?
Jesus Christ.
Lord, who is that? And so I was so corny. I would go on his page and I would like every little thing that he said. He never said nothing on Facebook, though. So I have to like and unlike to see if he would see it. But he never responded. And then one day he responded. That's when my life changed that day. It was wonderful. But yeah, I used to stalk his page. I used to message him, try to get him to say something to me. He never said nothing.
Right.
Never. And then I think our first date was like, he picked me up and we went to, where did we go? We went to Olive Garden. It was so funny. And me still being like in the world a little bit, I'm at the table and I'm rattling off at the mouth. It wasn't no bad conversation like that. I just thought I knew something, I knew nothing. And then he looked at me like dead in the eyes and he was like, shut up. Shut your mouth. I loved him ever since. He was like, shut up. Why are you what are you talking about? And when he said it, I just paused, and I have that video to this day. He was like, shut up. And I just paused and I shut it up. And that was that. So that was our beginnings.
Side story. I remember we was watching the Parkers the other day. He was like, you know what I mean? When Monique, she said something to the boy, I can't remember his name.
Professor Ogilvy. She stalked Professor Ogilvy. Stalking works. That's what I said. I said stalking works. It works. Listen.
Yo, that's crazy. But you might be right though, because you might be on to something.
For real.
Like that was
being persistent.
That's what it is. Persistent. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna say stalking. We just gonna say persistent.
I was stalking.
Jesus Christ. We got YONKERS over here.
He over there cheesing because he know.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all what's up? You know what I mean? He was stalked before, you know what I'm saying? But the product of it is beautiful, man. You know what I'm saying? Man. It's always it's a coming together of two power couples. A power couple of two people. You know what I'm saying? And y'all trying to make sure y'all set for life, you know what I mean? You doing big things, YONKERS, of course doing big things, man. You know what I'm saying? So y'all two being motivated the way y'all are, it's only gonna make big things happen, you know what I mean? Yeah, so shout out to both of y'all, you know what I mean? All right, so yeah, I mean, it was something you said earlier. You said behind that you was doing the bakery. It was something else you said. I mean, run down your resume one more time. You said you got the bakery.
Yeah, I got the shop opening up. Of course, I got Yummy Family Show. I got the Food Network. Hopefully, you know, y'all keep that. Cult Princess, Cult Princess.
That's what it was.
How could we forget Cult Princess?
All right.
Yo, Cult Princess is so the story of Cult Princess. I was watching one of the Jeremiah Hyman classes, and he was talking about how they had put us on the list of being like a black extremist group, ISUPK black extremists, and they was calling us a cult. And he said something. He was like, "Well, if we a cult, then I'm a cult leader." And then I was just like, "Well, I'm a Cult Princess," and that's just how Cult Princess came along. And then so it just started with T-shirts. Now it's up to actual clothes, merchandise. got a perfume coming out, jackets, of course. I'm just trying to make it a brand. Like, yeah, I got paperwork on it, just trying to make it, for the school. And then Call Princess, I have like donation commitments and stuff like that. So whatever I do, make sure it's going back into the school as far as with Call Princess. But yeah, that's how Call Princess.
So it's more so just to get the apparel, you know what I'm saying, so we could be fresh to death, you know what I'm saying?
Of course,
with the
for the
swag.
Fresh to death. And not only that, it's grown so much. Like, I've seen like the fake Israelite sisters and stuff like that saying, "Oh, I'm gonna call Princess, I'm in the truth too." They think they're the truth. So they're like, "I'm in the truth, so I'm gonna call Princess." And no, like sisters in the ISUPK, we deserve to be called, the Call Princess, and to wear that brand and stuff like that, just because of, we sticking beside our brothers in this troop that's doing the real work, and we out here doing the real work too. So as far as a woman's role in this work, so we out here doing it. And people, they just want to snatch and steal. And well, I'm a cop. No, you're not. You're in the ISUPK. You definitely not a Call Princess.
And what you just said was heavy, because I'm saying, by you speaking right now, you actually showing, you're a representative showing that the women are actually, very pivotal in how we move, because women, they play a big role, y'all do help us, as far as the things is a helpmate, so we can stay, progressive in the truth. But y'all also got things that y'all doing on your own, y'all taking care of families, y'all raising families, y'all helping brothers, and y'all making clothes, and and starting businesses, and starting networks, or trying to get on networks, and y'all being your own, force in yourself. The women are actually a very big part, of the truth that we live in today. So we definitely want to thank y'all, man. Big ups to all the women.
All my sisters.
All the women in the UPK.
All my Call Princess. They out here doing their thing. They opening up businesses. Right. I know it's a young sister. I can't say her name right, what is her name? But she's starting to do the live cooking videos and stuff like that. That just made me so proud. She told me how much I was inspiration to her and stuff like that. So she's starting the live cooking videos. And it's so many sisters that just got their own businesses coming left and right. It's like, you can't look on Facebook and not see a sister business. That's why I try so hard to support every sister that has anything coming out, because I know that they're doing it, to, help, or to be a helpmate to their Adawans, to the brothers, to the school, and all that stuff. So our sisters are doing things right now.
So big shout out to this. Big shout out to the sisters in Detroit. Big shout out to Chapala. Big shout out to Mariah. We definitely see y'all there, doing your thing. Big shout out to the sister in Canada too. That's just the ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
They're gonna kill me now for remembering this. I can see the group now.
Look, I'm not on the camera, so they gonna kill me. This is you.
Shout out Worker.
Shout out
Worker. I killed it right now with the pickles and the
uncanned
stuff.
The angry missus.
Angry
missus.
I came to bed after sneaking some pickles. Tell my husband, like, you coming to bed with Miss Angry Work. I call your breath. Work hard.
Yeah, man. So, all right. So, anything else you want to say to our 2 followers or 3 subscribers?
Man, subscribe to Knock TV. Subscribe to Young with Yami on YouTube. Subscribe to ISUPK. And that's pretty much it.
And what about any young women that's growing up in the Bay Area, coming out the same struggles you came out of? Anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, definitely. And even sisters in this, all over the school in the ISUPK, keep on going, keep on pushing. Y'all don't know how hard I had to fight for Call Princess, and just, just to get a t-shirt out there, I had to go through councils and all that stuff. So y'all just keep on going, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, you trying to support this, you're trying to support this truth, you're trying to support your Ottawa, whatever you're trying to do, keep doing it. Don't let, someone tell you can't. In the ISUPK, under Commander Jerry Hanna, you can.
And what about young women that's not in the truth, as they don't even know what the truth is, that's just coming out of the mud right now? What you got to say to them?
First of all, getting this truth. But if you can't, just keep striving, keep going. For everybody in the Bay Area, I have a lot of, friends and family that's not in this truth. And if you can't get in this truth, you got opportunity, get in. But if you can't, just keep going. Just try. That's all you got to do. Put forth a little effort. Because a lot of stuff that's going on right now, and, as women, you're not really putting forth effort that you should. You're putting your energy into stuff you shouldn't.
Right.
So if you can focus on, getting it together, getting your business, getting your education, and getting this truth, then you're good.
Right. Shout out to the whole Bay Area. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Yami. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all saw Red.
Y'all was Sop Red. Shout out to y'all was Sop.
Shout out to Adawan over there in the corner. He over there cringing like.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a big camera bull, but
no.
We already know. I mean, so that's that right there, man. We want to say thank you, Yami. We appreciate you. And
y'all definitely subscribe to Knock TV.
Yeah, man, do that.
Check my brother out. Hit that subscribe button.
Hey, hit that joint. You know what I'm saying? We out of here. A little crazy.
Make Omaha different from New York are just incidental. The problem exists because white people think they're better than black people, and they want to oppress us, and they want us to allow ourselves to be oppressed.
This is the I agree with you perfectly. This is the basic problem.
Then what do you
that white people think they're better than others?
I can't solve the problem. You guys pull the strings that close schools. You guys draw the boundaries that keep our kids restricted to the ghetto. You guys write up the restrictive covenants that keep us out of houses. So it's up to you to talk to your brothers and your sisters and persuade them that they have a responsibility. We've assumed ours for over 400 years, and we're tired of this kind of stuff now. We're not going to suffer patiently anymore. No more turning the other cheek. No more blessing our enemies. No more praying for those who despitefully use us. We're going to show you that we've learned the lessons you've taught us. We've studied your history, and you did not take over this country by singing "We Shall Overcome." You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire continents and races of people. Then you wonder why these very people don't have any confidence or trust in you. Your religion means nothing. Your law is a farce, and we see it every day. You demonstrated it in Alabama. And I can say you because you're part of the whole system. You profit from it. In fact, you make your living from it. You couldn't walk around and talk to people, stand up in your pulpit on Sunday and preach nice little songs and say, now we're going to give thanks to the Lord for he is good and old Jesus be among us. As far as we're concerned, your Jesus is contaminated, just like everything else you tried to force upon us is contaminated. Well, so you can have him. And here's what I'll say. I wish you would follow Jesus like we followed him. Because if you did that, then we'd be in charge tomorrow. I think the problem is so bad that we can have no understanding at all.
You think it's gotten to the point where there can never be that reconciliation? Then?
No. You talk about justice, and it means one thing to you, and we talk about it and it means something else to us. And it'll always be that way. And I'd like you to know I have a terrible feeling against preachers because I think you guys are the ones who are largely responsible for the problem in the first place. And you can accept it or not any way you choose. And for you, this may be an excursion, you know, across the line.
What about the person that wants to listen? I genuinely feel that I want to listen.
Well, if you listen and try to do something, you get kicked out of your church. See, that's the way your people are.
Well, we can make changes. So the change that have come up in drastic.
God bless you, little brother.
Yes, sir.
Come back and see us again sometime. And don't look back in anger. Thanks for taking it so well. He thought we were going to do in here like they do to us. If we went in one of their places, everybody would have jumped out of their chairs and got some ropes together and hung one of us. We couldn't even go in one of their places like this. Yeah. Right. Which is the bigger threat to American democracy and the Constitution? A Vietnamese mother suckling her child, or a white racist governor in Alabama who says, in so many words, to hell with the Constitution and Johnson and everything else? Which is the greater threat to democracy?
This is true, but these people have a kind of self-deception. You know, they believe, they circulate these myths so long that they've begun to believe them. And once you believe them, as they say, if you define a situation as being real, it will be real in its consequences. And this is just what's happened. They've come to actually believe this. And any evidence to the contrary, he's the exception. But the fact is, all the people who do struggle hard enough to accumulate a down payment, they do want something better for themselves and for their kids, and they hope that their neighbors will be the same kind of people that they are.
The black man fights for the white man, not for himself. He tells you to bleed and you bleed. He say, go bleed in Korea for the white man, and you go bleed because you have to. He tells you to go to Vietnam or Lebanon or Laos, and we have to bleed. Then in Mississippi or Alabama or Omaha, Nebraska, where they're taking our rights, and we know who the people are who are taking them, we don't have any blood then. We're radical. Just because we want.
In 1974, Patricia Hearst, the heiress to the media empire of the Hearst family, was kidnapped by the leftist armed group known as the SLA. 2 months later, Patricia adopted the name Tanya and joined the ranks of the SLA, participating in bank robberies. She declared herself a member of the SLA, armed herself, and even posed for photographs. After the FBI's armed confrontation with the SLA, Patricia was arrested following her year-and-a-half-long fugitive period. She faced charges of armed robbery and terrorism. Patricia shocked the United States with her statement that she was innocent because everything was an action carried out under the influence of SLA. Patricia's case became a prominent example of the phenomenon known as the Stockholm Syndrome, where hostages sympathize with or even join their captors due to brainwashing or survival instincts. In 19...
Facebook. All right. So I'm going live on Facebook. Okay. Shalom, Yahbashim Yahshua. Brother, shalom, Yahweh Shemar Atham Bashim Yahshua to the sisters. I'm preaching Officer Paratazar out of Yonkers, New York. No Cali, Yonkers, New York. And this is the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We're going to start off at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Junior High. And since 1969, we've been teaching the so-called blacks, the so-called Latinos, the so-called Native American Indians. They are God's chosen people according to the Bible. Let's clap it up for the Lord. And also, let's clap it up for Brotherhood, Twin Sisterhood, according to the Bible. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Baba Kishar, can you read the title?
The people of God, separate thyself from thine enemies is brotherhood.
There it is. The people of God, separate thyself from thy enemy is brotherhood. Yeah? If we separate ourselves, people of God, who are the people of God? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Who are people of God? You know what I'm saying? A drugged out Mexican. Who are people of God? A drugged out Ecuadorian. Who are people of God? You know what I'm saying? A drug addict African American woman. That's people of God. That's people of God right there. That's who we are. That's how the world see us. Right now, you know what I'm saying? The Mexicans, you know what I'm saying? The so-called Dominicans, the so-called Haitians are being stomped out into powder. Those are people of God right there. Those are people of God. But we don't see ourselves as people of God, priest.
Right.
We don't see ourselves because our oppressor say we're not people of God. We teach here in ISUPK. The priest and prophet of ISUPK teach blacks and Hispanics, Native American Indians, Negro and indigenous descent. They are the chosen people, and they're the people of God. They're the only people of God. Nobody else. People don't want to hear that, priest.
Right.
We our own kind. How dare you tell me I'm the people of God? How dare you tell me I'm God's chosen people? How dare you tell me I'm part of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel? How dare you tell me my forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? How dare you tell me this? How dare you tell me this Bible was only written to you, only written to me? How dare you tell me this? White Jesus didn't tell me. White Jesus said, no, that's the false. That's a lie. I believe in white Jesus. White Jesus told me God loves everybody. That's what white Jesus said. White Jesus also said, you know what I'm saying? White Jesus also said that you could be part of the LGBTQ community. That's what you get, you know what I mean? That's what white Jesus says. You know what I'm saying? White Jesus taught, you know what I'm saying? White Jesus taught you how to be a good homeborn slaves. White Jesus said, you know what I'm saying? You know the Mexicans hate the blacks. White Jesus told the African Americans to hate the Mexicans. But God loves everybody. But meanwhile, what this is happening right here? Donald Trump, Joe Biden, white Jesus, our slave master, Hillary Clinton, just stand by and watch us fight. That's what they did. That's what they did. Divide and conquer. That's how. That's what our oppressor is so good at, and making money on us fighting each other. You ever heard of Adam 22? He loves seeing his slaves fight against each other while he's making all the monies. Leon Cohen, that, you know what I'm saying, that disgusting bastard, that culture vulture, he got to feed his kids, so he gonna sell music telling blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians to unalive each other and to make whores out of our daughters, because he got to feed his kids. Bob Gashar, what is the name of this type?
The people of God, separate thyself from thine enemies, is brotherhood.
Oh, the people of God. Separate ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Separate thyself from thy enemy. And that's brotherhood. If we don't separate ourselves from our enemy, Adam 21 is going to make all the monies. Adam 21, you know what I'm saying? Adam 21 and Leon Cohen, I'm gonna get to you. And Leon Cohen just gonna sit back and watch their slaves fight each other and love it. And love it. Not trying to piece it up. Not trying, you know what I mean? Not trying like, yo, you know, this is, you know what I'm saying? This is this, you know what I'm saying? This is just, you know what I'm saying, entertainment. It's not real. Oh, no. He's just gonna sit back and watch it done because he love it. He love it. And he's you know what I'm saying? And he's disgusting. You know what I mean? He's a cockhold. You know what a cockhold? He's a cockhold, and his wife, you know what I'm saying? His wife is a strumpet. Bob Gashar, can you pass me the red cord, the charger? Right there. So just plug this in real quick. It's charged. All right, give me a second. Swap it. All right. Here we go. Yep. Okay, we still right there. Yep, and his wife, you know what I'm saying? You know the white women is a straight trumpet. A trumpet. Oh, I love that word right there. A trumpet. You know what I mean? Unclean, you know what I'm saying? Uncleanly. Using that biblical term. Uncleanly trumpet, which means she's a whore. But that's, you know what I mean? But this is those people that have strings in controlling blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Jordan, you had a question. What was your question? And it's on topic? Yeah, for the game. And they've been doing it for centuries now. Right. Centuries. Right there, the brother right there in the late 60s, early 70s, Ernie Chambers said it. Everything you said is a fault. Everything that you've been coming out your mouth is a goddamn lie. You're a treaty breaker. You know what I'm saying? Their paraphrase, man, speak with a forked tongue. And we, you know why? Because we have Stockholm syndrome. We don't change, you know what I'm saying? We have been kidnapped so long that we decided to call our name Tanya. You know what I'm saying? Because we kidnapped. You didn't see that on the Stockholm syndrome? She got kidnapped. She been with her kidnappers, you know what I'm saying, for I think about like 3 days. Then she started sympathizing with her kidnappers. She started robbing banks with her kidnappers. Remember, she's a victim. She started robbing her. Then she changed her name to Tanya. She started doing everything what her kidnappers doing. All right, she's a victim. Remember, she was kidnapped. Okay.
How do you break out of Stockholm syndrome?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. How do you break out of Stockholm syndrome since 1969? That's not what we've been teaching. How, you know what I mean? We teaching, what we're going to do, we're going to brainwash you. We're going to wash your brain with all, you know what I mean? We're going to wash away all that gunk, all that 200, 300-year gunk off your brain. We're going to wash off that white Jesus. Oh, man. We're going to wash that off. Matter of fact, hold that first scripture. Go to Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. How do we change? And you know who the first person got to change is us. We have to do something different. We have to get some. We got to understand who we are first. We got to understand. You know what I mean? We got to understand our. Let me see. What words I'm looking for? Our conduct. We got to understand our conduct. But matter of fact, Jordan, if you have it, let me read it.
For the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again.
Before you read, always put out the book, the chapter, the verse.
Okay. Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 12.
And take your time and talk with your outside voice.
Okay. For the time.
So start over. Talk with your outside voice from the beginning. Book, chapter, and verse.
Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 12. For the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Yahweh, and are become such as have need of milk, and not of strong meat.
So start that from the top.
For the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again.
Need what? Need what?
Need that one teach you again.
You have need that one teach you again. Who's going to be your teacher? Who's your teacher now? That's a good question. Who's our teacher? We need a man of God. Somebody that's an example. Who, you know what I'm saying? Somebody who know who they are. Somebody have a moral compass. Somebody have integrity. That's what I learned from that. Integrity. A man with integrity. A man that understand he don't be right just because, you know what I'm saying? He don't be right because he wants to. He have to be right because he have to. According to God. According to God. Not according to white Jesus.
Right.
White Jesus, did white Jesus ever taught you again? Because white Jesus taught you again, white Jesus is going to teach you that he's not white. You understand what I'm saying? It says it right here. Let me read this from the top. For the time ye ought to be teachers. You have, you know what I mean, for us to be teachers. Because we have to, you know what I'm saying? If we're a father, we're going to be a teacher. If, you know what I'm saying, if we're a big brother, we're going to be a teacher. If we want to, you know what I'm saying, if we learning, we have to learn how to teach. That's undoing Stockholm Syndrome. We have to, you know what I'm saying, be teachers. Ye have need that one teach you again. Why somebody's teaching you again? Why somebody needs somebody to teach us again? Because the first thing that we was taught was disgusting. The first thing that we was taught was from our enemies. You know what I'm saying? The first thing, you know what I'm saying, everything that we learned love from Donald Trump. Donald Trump taught us about love, how to love. We learned love from George Washington. George Washington taught us how to love women. George Washington. What did he do to our women? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans?
Slave.
Huh?
He was a slave.
Yeah, next time I got a poll on you, all right? It's okay. No, it's okay. That's what we learned that, and now we're doing the same thing with George Washington did. Now we're doing the same thing with George Washington did. We're doing the same thing what Donald Trump did. We have been, you know what I mean? We have, you know what I mean? We have bended the knee to America. Now we look at America as God. No, we got our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, is trying to fight for America. And these are Christians right here. These are Christians. They don't want to see America burn. America is God's kingdom. That's in their mind. That's white Jesus doctrine right there. That's, you know what I mean? That's white Jesus doctrine right there. That's what, you know what I'm saying? That's what Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying? Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, you know what I'm saying? Even, you know what I'm saying? Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton loved America. He don't want to see America burn. He don't want America to have judgment on it. Because he loved America. He loved it. He had bended the knee. Nobody had taught him again. You know what I mean? He's still being taught by his slave master. Read from taught again.
Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. For the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God.
Which be what?
The first principles of the oracles of God.
The first principle of the oracle of God. Blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians.
And
hold on. Blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians. That is the first principle of the oracle of God. We have to teach our people who we are, the things that we're supposed to do, because we follow the Most High God. Who is our God? You know what I'm saying? Who do we worship? What is our laws? The things that we got, the things that we should do, and what is the things that we cannot do? This is what we, you know what I'm saying? This is how we get, you know what I'm saying? This is how we get our brain washed from all that disgusting white Jesus doctrine, that slave master doctrine, that American doctrine. That's what we get our brain washed. But you know what I mean? But I understand, because we've been in captivity so long. We've been underneath this boo hill so long. But once a brother come to you and say, "Yo, you know how we could have brotherhood? Stop celebrating the 4th of July. You got Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians will have red, white, and blue American colors on the 4th of July. On the 4th of July, priest. What was going on in 1776? That's you know what I mean? That's when a white America fought against another bunch of white people and declared independence. What was Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians' independence? Where was our independence at? You know what white America? White America separate themselves from their enemies. That's what they did. That's what they did. They said they had enemies and they separate themselves from the enemies. Then once they separate themselves from the enemies, they had brotherhood. But in this, you know what I mean, in a mix of them separate themselves from the enemies, we was enslaved. We wasn't nobody. We was a goddamn chair and cattle. We was kidnapped And we suffer from Stockholm syndrome because guess what? On both sides of the American Revolution, blacks and Hispanics and Native American Indians was fighting on both sides. You believe that? There's no more Stockholm syndrome than that. One slave master, we was fighting for one slave master in America, and we was fighting for another slave master in the British Empire. Yeah, that's why. Yeah. That's how destroyed we are. We such sheep for the slaughter. Read on.
And are become such as have need of milk.
Slow down. And are become such as have need of milk. You know what the milk is? We don't remember. We don't give babies. We don't give babies. We don't give babies a steak. Because you know what I'm saying? We just learning how to chew our food. We are newborn babies in the truth. We have been born again. You see how that happens? We have been born again. This is where Yahushua Mashiach had taught blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians when he came on the scene. The greatest man on earth came to his people. In John chapter 3, verse 1. This is where that John 3:16, you know what I'm saying, breakdown come from. You got to read John 3, you know what I'm saying, 3 and 1 first. And get the context about this. And understand how to be born again. You're born again. You've been selling drugs all your goddamn life. You know what I mean? You've been robbing people all your goddamn life. You've been kissing, you know what I'm saying? You've been kissing the white man's heel all your goddamn life. You've been whoring out your sisters all your goddamn. You've been a whoremonger all your goddamn life. You know what I mean? You said you've been stepping over, you know what I'm saying, your drunk uncle. You know what I'm saying? You've been stepping over your drunk uncle when you come out the projects all your goddamn life. You've been smelling pissy hallways all our goddamn life. We've been around our enemy all our goddamn life. Now somebody's coming, you know what I'm saying, a priest and a prophet of the Lord is coming to us and showing us something brand new. Not hard to digest. You know what I mean? Understandable. We keep it practical. This, you know what I mean, this teacher, this oracle of God, this oracle of your God. Now he's slowly cleaning that Stockholm syndrome off your brain. You understand, like, oh man, hold up. Now then you ask the question, what if I'm celebrating the 4th of July? Well, I'm celebrating the 4th of July. When I go through history, it was enslaved of the 4th of July. It was white Jesus. It was white, you know what I mean? It was white people independence on the 4th of July, not black people, not Hispanics, nor American Indians. They didn't have no independence from these white people. Why are we celebrating this? That's, you know what I mean? Now it's coming clear. Now it's coming clear. What year did we start celebrating the 4th of July? Where did we learn how to celebrate the 4th of July? Who did we learn it from? Who was setting up those barbecues on the 4th of July, priest? Who was, you know what I mean? Who was cooking those food on the 4th of July? Who was baking those cakes and tending those fields? Damn sure George Washington wasn't doing that damn thing. Abraham Lincoln wasn't doing it. Lyndon Johnson wasn't doing it. You know who was doing it? Consuelo. She was doing it. You know who was doing it? You know what I'm saying? Big Mama. You know what I'm saying? Miss Johnson was doing it. That was who was tending the goddamn fields. Why, you know what I'm saying? Why Joe Biden and Donald Trump people were just sitting down telling us to do it. And if we don't do it, they just crack the whip. We learning something new now. So, you know what I'm saying? We learning the milk. It's being practical. It's becoming clear. Why are we celebrating birthdays? Who taught us that? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Other people taught us this. Who taught us about selling drugs? Who taught us to hate one another? Who taught us this? Our slave master, Donald Trump. And it says it right here, and not of strong meat. We're not going to give you nothing heavy. You've been smoking for the past 40 goddamn years. We ain't going to tell you, that some brothers and sisters could go cold turkey. We understand that, but the majority of people can't. Oh, you smoke, you know what I mean? You smoke a box of cigarettes, you know what I'm saying? You smoke a package of cigarettes every day. Okay. Break it down to a half of that. Let's start off right there. Let's do a half of that. And break, you know what I mean? And break it off from the half, you know what I'm saying? To a quarter, to an eighth, and to nothing. Let's weed you off. You know what I mean? Let's weed, you know what I mean? Let's weed you off. Hey, stop celebrating your birthday. Stop celebrating your birthday. Yeah, I understand, you know what I mean? You got the family, but stop celebrating your birthday. Be the example. That's how we do it. But you need righteous men of God to teach you to recognize, to teach you how to recognize the Stockholm Syndrome. And you know what I mean? So now we have the medicine. Now we have the medicine. Now you guess what we did now? We separate ourselves from our enemy. That's what we did. And once we separate ourselves from the enemy, now there's brotherhood. Now we be able to talk because we're away from our enemy. What year did you become my enemy? I think we was on the slave quarters together. Right, you got lynched. Right, you got lynched the way I got lynched. Your sister, right, you got violated the way I got violated. You know what I'm saying? My daughter. Did we get, you know what I'm saying? Did we get both our backs beat in from the slave master together? So what year did you become my enemy? We was getting our teeth kicked in together, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. When did you become my enemy? Bloods and Crips. When did the Bloods became your enemy? Crips. What year did the Bloods became your enemy? What year? You know what I'm saying? What year did you start beating up people that wasn't in no gangs because they were blue? I don't see no Crips running up on Donald Trump and he got red on all day. Anybody? Anybody? Let's make America great again. That's a red cap. I don't see no Crips running up on no Donald Trump. But if you know what I mean, but if I wear a red cap, I'm easy prey, right? I'm easy prey. Yeah. Yeah. That means that you did not, you know what I'm saying, separate yourself from your enemy. So that's why you don't have brotherhood. That's why you can look at me as easy prey because, you know what I mean? Because we are easy victims, Blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians. Ain't no Crips running up on no Donald Trump with the red hat. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Never. Never gonna happen. You see what's going on now? You see? He start wars. And what you know, man, what we doing over here? Fighting over colors and something that we don't even control. this gang thing. What is a, you know what I'm saying? What is a fox? This is how our oppressors make money off of us. When California caught on fire, wasn't no Bloods and Crips or no gang members try to put out the fire. No, they went, you know what I'm saying? They was waiting for their daddy, our white daddy, to take care of that problem. You see what I'm getting at? Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. The white man got this. When those forest fires happen, or some earthquake, gang members, hardcore, the white man got it. Not you. You know what I mean? Because we don't know how to be brotherly. Because we learned how to be brotherly from the white man who hates us. Who hates us. So we learned it from him. That's the reason why, you know what I'm saying? That's the reason why somebody who have on red cannot walk down a Crip neighborhood. Just a goddamn color. It's a color. You learned it from the Democrats and the Republicans. Those is red and blue right there. When the last time, you know what I'm saying? When the last time a Crip ran up on the Democrat and a Blood ran up on the Republican because they had on different colors. Oh yeah, we are a good homeborn slave, but we already got that, and that's how we could erase that Stockholm syndrome. That's what happened. That's what happened. We gotta understand who we are. We have to separate ourselves from our enemy. That's what we have to do, Blacks, Hispanics, and the American Indians. Now the healing could start. Now I could say there's no reason to hate you because you live on the south side and I live on the north side. Why do I hate you? What year? Now I could start reconciling our differences with you because we're in a safe place. Now we could talk it out because a man of God taught me how to forgive. A man of God taught me how to ask for forgiveness. A man of God taught me that. Because we ain't been taught. We have to be taught again. We have to be taught again. Matter of fact, and go to that first scripture that I told you to get. Exodus chapter 22, chapter 20, 23, verse 22, Bible Kashar. And that's for Blacks, Hispanics, and the American Indians.
Exodus chapter 23 and verse 22. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries.
Oh, stop right there. Start from the top, Bible Kashar.
Exodus chapter 23 and verse 22. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries.
For Blacks, Hispanics, and the American Indians, who are the 12 tribes of Israel, who are God's people, who are the chosen nation. The Most High God had told our ancestors, had told so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and the American Indians, had told, you know what I'm saying, had told our people. Right here in the wilderness, it says, but if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, now we have to find out who's the his voice in this scripture right here. People that's in the chat, who is the his voice? Who's the his voice? Let me see anybody in the chat. We got, almost on the crest. Okay, we got some likes over there. We got 3 people. Who's the his voice? All right. Okay, we got Ashley, Shalom, Shemar, Thumba, Shamir, Shop. What's going on, sis? No doubt. All right. Oh, okay. Shara, you know what I'm saying? Yaqua, Shalom. All right, sis. Okay. We got how you pronounce that? Manaima. All right, sis. Shalom, Shemar, Thumba, Shamir, Shop. What's going on? Okay, like in this scripture, when it says, But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, who is the his in this context? Who is the his voice? His voice. Give it a couple minutes, whatever. Okay. All right. Jordan, who's the his in this context?
Man of God.
Huh?
Right?
Hmm?
Man of God.
Who is the his voice? Read that again.
But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice.
Think about who's talking. Who's writing this down? Huh?
Moses.
Okay. Now who is the his? You say, read it again.
But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice.
Who is the his voice?
Moses.
Huh?
Moses.
Who is his voice?
Most High.
Huh? The Most High. Read that from the top and read it through.
But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies.
So now you see the difference. Do all, you know what I'm saying? And say, Baba Shah, can you bring that up, bit? All right. It says, but if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, you saying? Do all. Now the person who's speaking is Moses, right? But it says, obey his voice, not Moses' voice, the Most High's voice. There you go. Read on.
Then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies.
No, then I, who is the I?
Heavenly Father.
Yeah, the Most High. The Most High. You know what I'm saying? That's the I. Then I will be an enemy unto thy enemy if we obey God. You see that? If we only, because remember, we jammed up. This is Exodus right here. Oh man, we jammed up. We got Stockholm syndrome. You know what I mean? We are doing, we optimizers everywhere. You know what I mean? We don't know what, we don't know how to do this thing. We gotta get reminded who we are. We gotta get reminded who we are. Now, you know what I mean? And it says right here, now the Most High God, it says, then I will be an enemy to thy enemy. What enemies are he talking about? With the Most High God, you know what I'm saying? With the Most High God, what enemies? Because remember, we learned the Bible from Donald Trump. We learned the Bible from Hillary Clinton. We learned the Bible from Tom Hanks. We learned the Bible from George Washington. We learned the Bible from Abraham Lincoln. We learned the Bible from John F. Kennedy. We learned the Bible from Barack Obama. That's what we learned the Bible from. We learned it, and they taught us we have to love our enemies. What enemies is the Most High God is talking in this context?
For the Egyptians.
No. Gotta raise your hand. Gotta raise your hand and be understandable over that. What enemies are he talking about?
The Egyptians.
No. Yes, but not in that, you know what I mean? Understand. You say, I will be, you know what I'm saying? I will be an enemy unto thy enemy. If we obey the Most High God. So who is, you know what I'm saying? Who is the enemies that the Most High God is talking? Because remember, you know what I'm saying? The 12 tribes of Israel is bumping heads. You know what I'm saying? We've always been bumping heads. We've always been bumping heads. But how can God's people who bumping, who you know what I'm saying, who's fighting amongst each other, now we are God's, you know what I'm saying? We became enemies to our neighbor. And God going to be on the side of another neighbor, and you're going to be against an enemy to another neighbor. Because, you know what I'm saying, the both of us is not getting along, if I'm making any sense. You understand? So who is the enemies that the Most High God is talking about? Yeah, Jordan.
Any nation that decides to come up against the children.
Yeah, there you go. Give it up. Yeah, that's what any nation that go up against the nation of Israel. So he said, he will be, then I will be an enemy to thy enemies. Read on.
And an adversary unto thine adversary.
And an adversary, so any adversaries that happened to the nation of Israel, that's what the Most High got. That's why Baba Bishop, go back to the title. Go back to that title. Then you're going to say, the people of God, separate thyself from thy enemy, is brotherhood. Is brotherhood. Hold on. Let me fix this. Okay. Something happened. Okay. Just gotta repost that. All right. You could drop that Bible show. You could drop that Bible show. Let's go to let's go Salakia, what is that? Which one I want? Oh, let me see here. All right, let's go to Psalms 119, verse 142. Psalms 119, verse 142. I'm sure. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Right now, we see our brothers and sisters is being jammed up. We see the Mexican brothers and sisters getting jammed up. Everybody forget about the Haitians. You know what I'm saying? The West Indians. That's happening right now. You know who's also getting deported? You know what I'm saying? Quote unquote by mistake. North American Indians. The Navajo has suing ICE right now because they grab, you know what I'm saying, they illegal, you know what I'm saying, they imprison the Navajo couple of people in the Navajo tribe and thinking they, you know what I'm saying, they are illegals. Because we look the same. This is going on. And Donald Trump hates North American Indians. Oh, he hates them. He's, oh man, oh, I got those videos. Oh, he hates the North American. They don't pay taxes. You believe this? You believe this? Y'all, everybody forget about this? Baba Gishar, read that. Read that scripture. Right, Jordan?
Psalm 119 and verse 42. So shall I have wherewith to answer him that reproaches me. For I trust in thy word.
Hold up. Give me Baba Gishar, look for thy law is that truth. Oh yeah. Oh no. Let me see. Thy righteousness. Yeah. 119. You got 119 Psalms, chapter 119, verse 142. 119, verse 142. So blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. We are, you know what I'm saying? We are fell for the banana in the tailpipe. We are, you know what I mean? We have, you know what I mean? I know it. You know, I have to say that. You know what I mean? Because we're from the same area. That's the right. We have fell for the banana in the tailpipe. You know, and you know what we say? You know what we said? You know what we said? That was said in the 80s. I was saying, yo, we're not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe again. Guess what? 2020, 25. We fell for the banana in the tailpipe again.
Right.
Again. What year did black people started talking like white people and said the Mexicans is taking all the jobs? What year was this? What year did we started talking like a white man? Jordan, read that scripture.
Psalm chapter 142, and verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness.
Say that again.
And thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness.
Our righteousness is everlasting righteousness. Read on.
And thy law is the truth.
And say that again.
And thy law is the truth.
Thy what?
Thy law is the truth.
The law. The law of God is the truth. Is the truth. Not our law, the Most High God's law. That righteousness is an everlasting righteousness. And thy law is the truth. How you become righteous? You have to do the truth. The truth is an action word. The truth is an action word. The truth means that you follow God's law. That's what the truth is. The truth, if you follow God's law. If we separate ourselves from our enemy, because our enemy, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris said the laws is done away with. Where did we learn that from? What year did we learn that concept? You have to believe that the laws are done away with first, then read the Bible. Somebody had to introduce that to you first. You don't read the Bible and come up with your own idea. The laws is done away with. You know what I mean? You don't read the Bible and say, you don't read the Bible and come up with that concept and say, God's love everybody. We have to be under Stockholm Syndrome first. We have to follow our kidnappers first. And our kidnappers taught us about the Bible. That's why, you know what I mean? That's why in these Catholic church, the Christian church, the Muslim, that's why they talk like white people. Because white people taught us God love everybody. We didn't open up the Bible. We have to be indoctrinated first. Then we would philosophize this. That's why I've never been a Christian. I was a black. I didn't never believe in this at all. You know what I mean? By proxy, it says in your Bible, I always say, yo, why say, you know what I mean? Why do you love everybody? Meanwhile, we get our teeth kicked in. Why is God telling us to love everybody? ISUPK, that's not in the Bible. Like, what you talking about? I was a Christian by proxy. You believe that? I'm like, yo, that's what I see out here. That's why, you know what I mean? My niece is 9 years old. That's why, you know what I mean? Where did she learn that Jesus was born on a December 25th? Who taught her that? Who taught her that? Where did she learn that from? Why is my niece that's 5 years old telling me God's love everybody? Why my niece feel pressure when I told her she's a chosen seed of God? She's a daughter of Zion and no one else. You are God's people. Why she got upset? She was upset. You believe this, priest? Right. You try to tell me everybody else not God people? No, it's only a selected people who's God's people. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians with Negro and indigenous consent. Those is your people. Mexicans is your people. Chinese people is not your people. Dominicans are your people. Arab people is not your people. Puerto Ricans is your people. The French people is not your people. And she didn't understand it. Those is your people. Those is the chosen people of God. You are the chosen people. Why are you upset? You should be rejoicing and happy. This is what God wants. And anything that he wants, he will get. You should be happy. You are a daughter of Zion. The righteousness is the everlasting righteousness, and thy law is thy truth. Now you're going to be taught the truth. You're going to be taught the truth. This is one truth that I'm going to teach you. Bob Bashar, go to Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 17. Leviticus chapter 25, verse 17. Let's read one of these. You know what I mean? The truth for Blacks, Hispanics, and the American Indians. If we separate ourselves from our enemy, it's brotherhood. Go ahead, Jordan. Read that.
Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 17. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another, but thou shalt fear thy God, for I am the Lord your God.
Oh man, look at that. That's the law right there. It says it right here. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another. Oppress one another. Bob Bishop, just get the definition of oppress. The why? I find out that word oppress, because this is, you know what I'm saying? This is Moses. I'm gonna strap right in. Because remember, we still jammed up. We jammed up. We got laws. We have, you know what I'm saying? We have a constitution. This is our constitution right here. This is our constitution right here. And in our constitution, we're not allowed to do this. You know what I'm saying? Ye shall not therefore oppress one another. One another. Baba Bashar, you have it?
When one can't oppress, keep someone in subservience and hardship, especially by the unjust exercise of authority.
Oh, what? Give me synonyms to that. Give me synonyms.
Persecute.
Say that again.
Persecute.
Oh, persecute. Oh, wait. You know what I'm saying? All we get persecute. We persecute one another. You know what I mean? By the orders of white Jesus doctrine. We persecute one another by the orders of slave master doctrine. We persecute each other because we suffer from Stockholm syndrome. We took on the traits of our kidnappers. Let me get another one.
It's got a lot of them. Exploit.
Exploit. Exploit. What is Adult 21 is doing to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? When is Leon Cohen? I gotta feed my family. You know, Leon Cohen said that. I'm gonna put that. I want you to get drunk. I want you to get high. I want you to unalive your brothers and sisters. I want to make a soundtrack of destruction music to, you know what I'm saying, to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians' lives. And these are the things that I want you to do too. I want you to get drunk and high. I want you to treat your women like whores. That's what I want you to do. I don't want you to listen to God's words. I don't want you to listen to those, you know what I'm saying, those porch monkeys that's on the street of 125th Street. Those ISUPK people. Those black Israelites, you know what they call those black Israelites. I don't want you to listen to no ISUPK. I want you to listen to me. I want you to oppress your own kind. That's what I want you to do. I want you to explore. I want you to exploit you. And guess what? We started, you know what I mean? And he did it. Our oppressor did it to us. Our oppressor did it to us. You heard of contracts? In the American Constitution, you know what I'm saying? Remember, American Constitution was written by disgusting bastards that speak with a fourth tongue. So they make contracts that you don't understand. 360 contract. These record companies, these white record companies, exploiting Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians since the beginning. I'm going to help you out, and I'm going to own everything that you put out. I'm going to pay you a half a cent. Think about what I'm saying, and this is real. I'm going to pay you a half of 1%. I'm going to pay you a half a penny. Every album that you sell, you know what I mean? Every album you sell, you're going to get a half a penny on it or 2 credits. Think about that. Think about that language. That's such a white language. They speak with a forked tongue. You see what I'm saying? Double language. They don't say what they mean. They don't say what they mean. If they did, they would never broke all the treaties with the North American Indians. They speak with a goddamn forked tongue. But when did we started speaking with a forked tongue? Because right here in Leviticus, in our constitutional laws, it said, I'll read that from the top.
Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 17. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another.
Ye go say that again.
Ye shall not therefore oppress one another.
Ye shall not therefore oppress, to exploit one another. 12 tribes of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, we're not allowed to do it at all. We're not allowed to do it. We're not allowed to write up contract and exploit you out of your money. You might come. You know what I mean? But if we didn't get taught, if we didn't separate ourselves from our enemy, it's okay to exploit each other. Because America is built on exploiting people. America is built on that, to exploit people, to drop bombs on Tulsa, Oklahoma, to exploit those. You know, there's still, I think, one descendant, one person that was there at Tulsa, Oklahoma. Why she, you know what I mean? Why she is not, you know what I mean? Why she not back in Tulsa, owning all that land that, you know what I'm saying, that Joe Biden's family took? When Baba Kashar, what year? Just look up what year did Tulsa, Oklahoma got bombed. You know what I mean? When that riot happened, I think it was in the 1930s. 1930. Just do that real quick. Sure. And read it from the top.
Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 17. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another.
Say that again.
Ye shall not therefore oppress one another.
Ye shall not therefore oppress one another. Thy law, you know what I'm saying? Thy law is the truth. Is this the truth? Or this, you know what I mean? Or this don't matter no more. Somebody told you don't read the Old Testament. Who told you don't read the Old Testament? Who said that's the old book? White Jesus doctrine. Yo, that's the old book. You don't have to think about that. Don't think about slavery no more. Oh, that was back in the past. They say, you notice they talking about that's back in the past, but right, the Bible was back in the past. You see what I'm getting at? You know, they don't want to talk about slavery, but they want to talk about the Bible. But in the Bible, it says what was written for time was written for our learning. What time was that? That's in the Bible. And Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7 says, remember the days of old, consider many generations. You know what I'm saying? Ask that father and they will teach you. Right here, we got to remember the days of old. And in the days of old, say, ye shall not therefore oppress one another. Bob Gashon, you have that?
1921.
1921, when we was getting our teeth kicked in for nothing. For nothing. 1921. Hundreds of people got unalive for nothing. 100 blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Just remember, it was still sun. This is when 1929. This is the Jim Crow. Oh, wait. Sundown towns was going on. 100 years of lynching was going on. You think, you know what I mean? You think a so-called Mexican could walk down the streets? Do you think a so-called North American Indian could just walk down the street? Where was the sanctuaries at? A North American Indian could go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and be okay. They're not going to lynch you. But two towns down, they would lynch that North American Indian. Because the North American Indian wasn't, you know what I mean? We wasn't enemies. A Puerto Rican could go to Tulsa, guess Tulsa, Oklahoma, and feel comfortable. It was a safe place, priest. You know that, right? It was a safe place for us. In spite of everything is going on, we were still building ourselves up because we did what? We were separated. And that wasn't our concept. Guess who told us to separate? They call it separate but equal, priest. That's what it was. It was separate but equal. Okay, because remember, we wasn't making laws. Joe Biden was making laws. Donald Trump was making laws. Hillary Clinton was making laws. Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise was making laws. They was making laws, and we follow those laws, please. And what year did they bomb?
1921.
1921. Bombed that place. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, this place right here that got bombed. Guess who's there now? Guess who's there now? Remember, that was an all-black town. Period. All-black town. Period. What year did it become an all-white town? You said 1929, right?
21.
Oh, 1921. I don't think they unalive everybody. You know what I mean? In 19 when it was all over in 1922, do you think people could go back and reclaim their land? Because there was people alive. It was still black people, you know what I'm saying, from that town alive in 1922. It was black people still alive in 1924, 1923, priest. Right. It was black people from that town in 1925. It was black people still alive in 1930. Why did they go? Why they did not go back and get the land back?
Okay. How did they bomb it? Like, did they fly planes over it?
Yes, they did. That was the first. That was the first place. That was the first place on American soil when a plane went over American land and bombed the city.
Called airstrikes over.
Yes, that was the first time they dropped. What's saying like they call it AT&T. They call it oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. Like they have wicks. You buy it and you throw it. TNT. Yeah, they was flying planes over Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, and bombing it. And they was coming in from the back and shooting and unalive and shooting people. Men, women, and children. Not necessarily in that order. And they stole. And they plumage. They, you know what I mean? They stole everything. The land, they stole. You know what I mean? The people, they unalive. What happened to all those land deeds? Where's those land deeds at? Oh, we got priest and officer. The con is in the house. Yeah. What's going on, priest? Where was those deeds at? Clearly, right?
Why do they call it Black Wall Street? Was a lot of businesses.
Yeah. This was a black people who set up a black town. Remember, this is in the 1920s during Jim Crow. So it was segregation. We wasn't allowed to implement. It wasn't like the way today. So imagine this right here, Harlem, a black city. You know what I mean? It was built on, you know what I mean? We built it up. In spite of the racism, we built out and it was. It was still doing segregation. So Apollo, you got Apollo, the sneaker store that you own. You know what I mean? The shoemaker. The brother who had the sewing machine. The sewing store. So I go. You know what I mean? I go to your business. I buy something from you. He go to your business. This person go to your business. All black. That's all we know. All black. and somebody said that a black man touching a white woman, a strumpet, an unclean dog, a white woman is a dog. Okay?
So this is where they got Wall Street. That's downtown, right?
No. This is when it was a good economic base. That's what they call it, the Black Wall Street, because there was so much businesses going on there.
I'm saying, like, why do they call ASUP Wall Street? Like, with all
Oh no. That would just they say, that's a business district. It's
so
business.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, they didn't steal Wall Street from our people.
No.
Oh no. So they just call ASUP Wall Street. Just call it.
That was just a wish thing because there was so much business and so much money was being made. That's Wall Street. So we're like, oh, it's so much business. Let's call it. Cause remember, they call it black. Like if they do it, somebody say, oh, that's the black version of. Hence, we're the black Israelites. You see what I mean? Oh, those are the black Muslims. You see what I'm getting at? That's, you know what I mean? It's a byword. It's a byword in a proverb. That's all it is. You know what I mean? They call Luke Campbell. I remember Luke Campbell was known as the Black Hugh Hefner. And he was a goddamn pedophile. Disgusting bastard. But guess what Luke Campbell did? He followed behind that trait. If Hugh Hefner is a pedophile, so is, you know what I mean? So is Luke Campbell, because he was known as the Black Hugh Hefner. And we know what Hugh Hefner did, done. So it wasn't no stolen. That was just, it was so much money, you know what I mean? Money coming out of this place. It's like Wall Street. But it was just made by black people. See what I'm saying?
If I may, but you're bringing out it so heavy, George, you gotta understand that, you know, Wall Street over here in Midtown, we were literally so over there. You understand? We were literally so over there. This was the slave market located where Wall Street Beach, the East River, was established in 1711 as the place where enslaved blacks and Native Americans could be hired. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, we black people, we got style, you know what I'm saying? We hustlers. You know what I'm saying? So when we established our place of own business, we just called it the Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, over there at Wall Street in Midtown, there's so much businesses, so we adapted that name. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We're faithful. We're salt of the earth people. Mm-hmm. So with our Wall Street, you know what I'm saying? In the Black Wall Street, where we had what? Businesses. We had movie theaters. We had our own airports, our own doctors, theaters. You know what I'm saying? You name it. We didn't have to walk for nothing. Since we want to be so, what's your point? Since the white man want to be so segregated, you know what I'm saying? That's when God forced us to create our own. You know what I'm saying? Now, and with that, what does that do? That's business for the white people. They're not making an economic flourish like how we are. That's why they bombed us out of jealousy.
How come we can't get it today?
That's what the Most High God will force us to do in these last times.
And you know how we can get it? Throughout the priest for that. Also, you know how we can get it today? Separate ourselves from our enemies.
Right.
That's how we don't even have to fight him. We don't. Then remember we talking about we have to be what? We taught again by a righteous man. The righteous man say, hey, we can solve this problem together. We are righteous counselors. We could solve this problem. But where is the counselors? Who is our counselor? Who America? White Jesus going to counsel you? Huh? No. Not right, Jesus, you know what I'm saying? The American Constitution going to counsel us, right? The American Constitution. This is what happened. You know what I mean? So, and that's why I was saying in Tulsa, you have people that were still alive in Tulsa. Why they could not go back and reclaim their land? They're alive. America never gave back that land. Never say, yo, these people was bombed. They should go back and get, the descendants should go back and get their land back. Why is not happening? Why is not happening? It never did. It didn't happen in the 50s. Baba Gashar, if I may, my apologies. Just look up the population of Tulsa. The population of that when the city got bombed. Look at the population. They could have went back and got their land back. Why did they not get their land back? No, oh no, just you want to see the place when in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where the place that got bombed. Just look how they have the town. Like right now, the town.
How many people are living in that town?
Yeah, they're living in that town right now. Because nobody went back and got the land back. Why didn't they get the land back? Remember, that was all black owned. Period. Period. There should be nobody outside of black people own that, they own that land. How did the American government start owning that land? And in our Constitution, we're not allowed to oppress one another. We're not allowed to do that. Finish on reading that?
Leviticus 25 and verse 17. You shall not therefore oppress one another, but thou shalt fear thy God.
Say that again.
But thou shalt fear thy God.
But thou shalt fear thy God, your God. Not everybody God, your God, Israelites. Thou shalt fear your God. Fear him. Real?
For I am the Lord your God.
For I am the Lord your God. I'm telling you, don't oppress your brothers and sisters. You're not allowed to. It's in the law. You're not allowed to do it. We're not allowed to do so. We're not allowed to do it. That's, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Thy law is thy truth. That's the truth. You could drop that right there. Baba Shaw, you have it?
I mean, they're giving different things. They're giving project population. They're giving county population.
Look up the population of like between the ethnic groups. And Jordan, go to let me see here.
Blacks is about 70,486.
Where's the white population in?
3,084, 843.
Don't own a goddamn thing there. Own nothing. Own nothing. Nothing. They own nothing. Nothing. It's a wrap. Because there were descendants there, could have reclaimed their land. Never happened. Never happened. They didn't get no reparations. Nothing. No reparations. Nothing. Okay?
But it's crazy. I bet you the 3,000 Caucasians that own stuff. They own stuff.
Yeah. They were the descendants for the people who bombed the place. So they just went in and just grabbed land, they stole everything. It's no more Black Wall Street. When the last time you heard him build himself up? Why they didn't build himself up? It's gone. There's no Black Wall Street no more. It's over. There's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no, what's the one in Florida? What was another famous one in Florida? They made a movie out of it. Rosewood. It's gone. It's gone. Rosewood is gone. You know what I'm saying? Central Park. What was that? Cap always bring it up on Central Park. Seneca Village. It's gone. You know, Seneca Village was a black town, and it's gone. It's gone. We got to make that Central Park. We got to get, you know what I'm saying? We got to get white people to walk their dogs and run and jog around. Got to jog around. Right?
What happened with Rosewood? How did they get rid of that?
Oh, same thing.
Bombed it too?
Yeah, same thing. Same thing.
So they also bombed Seneca Village.
Huh? Oh no, they just plowed everybody out and pushed them upstate. Pushed them to Harlem. That's how we got to Harlem. Yeah.
Central Park wasn't.
It wasn't it. No. Imagine Harlem was in Central Park. Imagine that. That's what happened. That's what happened. Yo, I own this land. It doesn't matter, Negro. Doesn't matter. Intimate domain. You know that they're gonna pull. If your house is in the prime area, if your land in the prime area, intimate domain mean we the state could come in and take over your land and don't care. There's nothing you can do about it. Double to. That's how, you know what I mean? That's how our oppressors is. They double to. But you could drop that, Bob Shaw, and go to let's go to the clap. Zephaniah chapter 2 and 1. That's it, right? Zephaniah 2 and 1. Let's go to Zephaniah 2 and 1. Bob Shaw. Let's read what the Most High God is telling us. The Most High God is telling us. Because right now, you be seeing all these puppet masters on these podcasts. These, you know what I'm saying, these white Jesus doctrine on these podcasts. You know what I mean? Getting paid off of our trauma. Off our trauma. And you know what they supply on these podcasts, Breeds? Liquor and drugs. You see that, right? You see it. Liquor and drugs, because you know once liquor and drugs come in, there's a, why do you think they call liquor a spirit? There's a spirit come on you. Now he could say, now our, you know what I'm saying, our oppressor, these snow roaches, these you know what I mean, these unclean bastards, they start manipulating our minds. And they just sit back and collect money. They sit back and collect money. Some geek, a geek, you said there's some goddamn square. When they became cool, now we're gonna look towards these people as gods. Well, you know what I'm saying? He giving me money. Oh, so you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? So you're gonna clip his toenails, huh? Because he's giving you some money. Baba Shah, read that.
Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourself together.
Say that again.
Gather yourselves together.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. If any brother have an ought with any other brother, any Hispanic, so-called Mexican, have a disagreement with an African American. Any Puerto Rican have a disagreement with any Brazilian. Any Brazilian have a disagreement with any Haitian. Any Haitian have a disagreement with any let's say a Dominican, matter of fact, Jamaican brother. If we have a disagreement, let's read that again.
Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Ourselves, Blacks, Hispanics together. You know what I mean? Gather ourselves together. Read on.
Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Say that again.
O nation not desired.
No, say that once again.
Gather together, O nation not desired.
So-called Hispanic. Say that again.
Gather together, O nation not desired.
Who's not desired? Who's not desired? Huh? The Mexicans is not desired right now. You know what I'm saying? The Haitians is not desired. The Ecuadorians, the Guatemalans is not desired. Oh, nation not desired. We have to gather ourselves together. You know, now we understand, once we gather ourselves together, we understand that we're not desired. That's what's going on. We understand that we're not desired. Once we gather ourselves together, once we separate ourselves from thy enemy, once you know what I'm saying, once we gather ourselves together, we learn that we're not desired by these other nations. We learn that these other nations is our enemy. We learn from the priest and the prophet of the Lord that we've been taught again. We learn that if we follow the Lord's statute commandments, you know what I'm saying? And God's laws is God's laws is the truth. We learn that once we follow God's laws, our enemy become God's enemy. We learn that. We learn that. You know, when we gather ourselves together, all nation not desired, we learn Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 17. We learned not to oppress each other. We learn that. Father, drop that. Go to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 6, verse 13. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 6. Oh, matter of fact, before you read that, Bob Bashar, while he's going to Ecclesiasticus, just go to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22, Bob Bashar. All right. Now just go to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22. I'm going to have Jordan read that. Look up next. Sometimes you just got to look in the index also. If you can't find it, just go straight to the index at the beginning of the book. That will help you out a lot. All right? Because you just started learning the Bible, so just go to Ephesians. So blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. 4 and 22. So blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. This is what, you know what I mean? This is what Christ came on the scene. When our brothers and sisters was acting, you know what I mean? When our brothers and sisters were acting like another nation. When our brothers and sisters was doing what these other nations was doing. When our brothers and sisters were scattered. And our brother Paul, you know what I mean? Our brother Paul wrote a letter to, you know what I'm saying, to the brothers who he raised up in Ephesians. He raised up and he wrote this letter to them. You know what I mean? Our brother Paul, so-called, you know what I mean? A so-called West Indian of today, who is, you know, from the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Benjamin. Our brother Paul, you know what I'm saying, wrote this letter to our brother and let him know this could be done. You know what I mean? This, you know what I mean? It could happen. Some brand new. You know what I mean? Your brain could be washed again. You could come back to the Most High God. You could change your life. You know what I mean? You could understand this. You could start separating yourself from people who's, you know, people who's not your people. You can still live you can still live amongst them, but you won't be like them. Read that.
Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 22. That ye put off concerning the former conversation.
Say that again.
That ye put off concerning the former conversation.
Go on.
The old man.
Oh, that we put off concerning the formal conversation. The old man, that old conversation that you have. Like, yo, I'm going to unalive you because you got on blue and I got on red. I'm going to unalive you because I'm a Latin king and you are, yeah. I'm going to unalive you because you Peru. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm part of the Mexican mafia. You know what I'm saying? That we put off. You know, concerning the formal conversation, the old man, that old conversation. Why are we still talking about God loves everybody? Why are we talking about, yo, I'm going to say, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to barbecue on the 4th of July. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to celebrate Christmas and New Year's Day. That's that formal conversation. That's that white Jesus conversation. Hold up, I'm standing up tall now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna bend the knee no more. I'm not gonna bend the knee anymore. Concerning the old man, read on.
Which is corrupt.
Which is what?
Which is corrupt.
Oh, that old man, which is corrupt. We're gonna put off that old man. You know what I mean? We're gonna put off that old man. We're gonna read. You know what I mean? Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 4. We're gonna read that. We're not gonna believe white Jesus said that's the Old Testament. Don't believe in that. That was so long ago. You know what I mean? We're not gonna believe that. You know what I mean? These people have been lying to us, you know, for centuries now. They're telling us the truth. We're going to take off that old conversation, that deceit man, because that deceit man taught us how to make horrors out of our sisters. How that, that old man had taught us, I cannot reconcile differences with my brother. That, you know what I mean? That old man had that deceit, that corrupt conversation had taught us, that deceitness taught us that white man loves us. That's that's the old man. We're not talking like that no more. That was corrupt. We know from which is corrupt.
According to the deceitful lust.
Say that again.
According to the deceitful lust.
Oh, I gotta get some money. Say that again.
According to the deceitful lust.
Hey, man. You know what I'm saying? I know she's married, but she got, you know what I mean? She got a fat behind. I know she's married, but she got a fat behind. Say that again.
According to the deceitful lust.
Hey, man, I'm about to get high. I'm about to get high so I can do a drive-by. You know what I mean? When the last thing, you know what I mean? They don't unalive people sober. They don't unalive people sober. Because you got time enough to think. You know, what the hell I'm doing this for? Because he stepped on my sneakers? Because he stepped on my, I'm doing it because he got on a blue flag. I got to sniff them coke. I got to drink a pint of liquor. That lust inside of us. What lust? Bloodlust. Where we learn that bloodlust from? Donald Trump in America. We learned that from our enemies. That's where we learned it from. Read on.
Verse 23.
Yep.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
Say that again.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
And be renewed. Now we renewed. Now go back to Hebrews chapter 12, chapter 5, verse 12. No, don't go back. Hold that. Always keep your finger there. Always give everything that you dropped off, keep that finger there, all right? You don't have to move until I ask you to move. Just keep it there, all right? Come on. Now go back to Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. You need somebody to teach you again. Now we becoming that new man. You know what I'm saying? Now we're getting raised up by righteous men of God. Now somebody's teaching us how to forgive. Now we asking for forgiveness. Now we separate us. Now we see the enemy for what it is. So it doesn't matter what the enemy do. I'm not going to hate my brother. All right? I'm not going to look towards my brother like the way the white man looked towards Mexican. I'm not going to look towards a Jamaican like Donald Trump looked towards Mexicans. I'm not going to do that anymore because my mind was new. Read that from the top.
Verse 23, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
Be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Be renewed. Now, right now, we have to take the spooky off spirit. We got to take that spooky off. You know what I'm saying? We got to take the Christianity off. The spirit be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Jordan, do you know what it means, spirit?
Yeah, what you're accustomed to doing, like what you did in like your former life, in your former time. You almost there. Spirit means
how you act. How you act. Like a prime example, like when you see somebody during in December, and they have on the Santa Claus hat, they have on the ugly sweater. You see what I'm saying? They're playing the best of Luther Vandross Christmas music in the background. What type of spirit are they in? They're in the Christmas spirit. You see that? They got the vibe. The vibe is on. It's obvious. You're in the Christmas spirit because I see it on you. This scripture right here. Now you in the what? The brotherhood according to God's spirit. Now you're in the God's spirit. You know what I mean? Now you in the, you know what I mean? Now you're in the Lord statute commandments spirit. Now you're in the Bible spirit. Yeah, I know. Now you're in the Bible spirit. Now you're conducting yourself in that spirit. Now you know I can't oppress my brother. You see what I mean? And now you're looking to, I got to separate myself from those people. That's what I got to do. Now you can drop that. Now go back to, this is my last scripture. Slap it, please. My last scripture, go to Ecclesiastes, chapter 6, verse 13. Chapter 6, verse 13. Read it when you have it.
All right. Ecclesiastes, chapter 6, verse 13.
Go on.
Separate thyself from thy enemies and take heed of thy friends.
Oh, man, do you hear that? Read that again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 13. Separate thyself from thy enemies.
Separate thyself from thy enemies. That's what it says right there. That right what the Most High God said. If you obey him, he will be an enemy to your enemy, an adversary to your adversary. Right there, you know what I'm saying? Right? You know what I'm saying? Right? Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourself together, O nation not desire. Gather together, separate ourselves from the people who don't desire us. Right? It says right in Leviticus chapter 17, 25, verse 17. I mean, don't oppress one another. And it says it right there from the top. Read it.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 13. Separate thyself from thine enemy.
Yo, we need to separate ourselves from our enemy. If we allow our oppressor, like people like Adam 22, you know what I'm saying, like Flag TV, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, like Elon Musk and Donald Trump and white Jesus doctrine and the Christianity and the Pope. You got Negroes talking about these Hispanics is taking our jobs. You got Negro drug dealers is talking about, you know what I'm saying, these illegals is coming in here and taking and destroying our neighborhood. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians with Negro and Indigenous descent. That's the only friends that we had. Now we don't see who our enemy is. We don't see our enemy anymore. And with, you know what I'm saying? And with that, matter of fact, yeah, it happens like that. And with that, I'm Precinct Officer Paratazar out of No Coward, Yonkers, New York. This is the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start off for 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Giuliani. And since 1969, we've been teaching the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, the people of God, separate thyself from thy enemy is brotherhood. And with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Priest and Officer 1000 Sha'ar.
ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to check themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10, means 10th in the Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to Treasury Department or teacher. Priest monthly will offer for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, which would be the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. Make sure you go to the back of your bulletin board and check any upcoming ISUPK events, or go to isupk.com, which is our website. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, blue shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, men of Israel, Ahmadium, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Ahmadium Shabbat. Ahmadium, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yadimatan, which means hands down. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Ahmadium Shabbat. Ahmadium, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yadimatan, which means hands down. Class dismissed.